I'm Kayla Roth, and I play the role of the musical teacher.
I'm Judd Greenstein, and I'm the composer for this project.
A whirlwind. Yeah, just every minute of rehearsal counts, and so it was cool meeting Judd, and it was cool working on a new piece that we'd never heard before, and we had to learn by the books. Yeah.
It's inspiring just to see how hard you and the students have worked on it, and we've been working together for almost a year now, actually a year basically from tonight, because I came to that concert last year.
Yeah.
And I see how much work goes into even a small performance like this. So thanks for putting in such an effort.
It has greatly impacted my learning and as a career with being able to work one-on-one with a composer before and interact with him and hear his vision for how the song should run and troubleshooting some issues and being able to give feedback and to have sort of a say in how the music goes. That was kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool likewise just to be able to kind of jump into the whirlwind that is a middle school choir semester and feel like, okay, we're going to make this work and we're going to find a way to make this work, and we're all going to be on the same kind of boat moving forward. In terms of my career, it's just great to be able to work here in this community, because I just feel like it's going to open up this conversation, and hopefully we'll keep in touch and be able to work on stuff at some point in the future.
Composers are very accommodating. No, he was, and they're here to support students, and I feel like I got that, and we definitely tried to meet as often as we could to make it happen, and I think that the students will be able to look back on this someday and have some appreciation for it, even if in the moment it's kind of nerve-wracking to try and put on a piece that they feel is very challenging for them.
Even though I'm trying to be accommodating, there's still the piece, and so I want it to work, and you want the piece to work, but you still have to just be realistic about what the students can do. Mm-hmm. And so we're both kind of like trying to live in the other one's world because we want it to succeed.
Yeah. Didn't expect to have to start from square one.
That's right.
So, going back in time and having us not be able to establish a performance time last year, that was a huge thing. I think the language was actually a barrier that the kids had to overcome. I feel like they're more comfortable now with it because of the sheer repetition. But that was initially really daunting for the students also. It was a very new sounding piece. It's not your Justin Bieber mistletoe. It's it's got some crunchy chords, and it's got some juxtaposed rhythms, rhythm changes, and so students had to work around that, and some rose to the challenge, and others, had to feel those frustration feelings before getting there. But I feel like everyone got there.
But also just having the composer know how much time there actually will be total to work on a piece. Because I think if I had realized how little time, if you just kind of add up all the hours, it's like, oh, that's not a lot of time. I probably would have tried to write something simpler.
From a teaching standpoint, if a composer is able to see what the students are capable of in advance, so I think we definitely tried to make that happen by having you attend last year's concert and then trying to write it for that age group that he heard, but then it didn't end up working out for last year, and so then having to continue to use that same song for this year's students was different. Yeah, and I think that was another thing to think about is as much as the composer can see what the students are capable of ahead of time.
Well, it's hard for you because you don't know what the chorus is going to be like until the start of the year.
Yes.
So you could tell me whatever you want during the summer, but you're not going to really know until you get on the ground and are running.
Yeah, that too. True.
Yeah. And then you're already into it, and so there's just there's so little time to actually do all the things that you would normally do, in preparing for a premiere. So just figuring out, like, being really realistic about how are you going to spend all the time you have, like what's actually needed.
Yeah.
But I think it's easy for us to say, oh, well, we'll do this, and that turns out to take 3 weeks.
Right.
And then suddenly you're like into a break period, and then you have to deal with something else with the students because they have to learn some other piece, and that's just the reality of this age group.
I think that as a director, I want to honor what the composer has written as much as possible, and I see the vision that's there, and I enjoy listening to what was designed, and so I guess I would encourage other directors to speak up if it's not going to work for their group, even if you really, really like the song, and you would hope that you would be able to do it as written. I think I was really shy about stating really what the limits were, honestly, because I wanted you to see what you had in your mind, be presented as best as it could. So I hesitated, I think.
Right. It took us a while for you to trust that I was really okay with, making it work. Yeah. Which I respect. I mean, it all comes from a great place. And, for me, it's like I don't know. I don't have any other way to find out what the students are capable of except for you to tell me. So that's a tricky thing because we're new to this type of relationship too.
Mm-hmm.
I guess what I would say in terms of advice is like those details matter so much, like the weird little details of like I was saying, the time of the class and really thinking about fall break and winter break, when that concert's going to be, and the little details, because like you said, every minute matters.
Yes. Yeah. I think for 7th and 8th grade, initially it was a little over their heads to like realize how cool and unique it is of an experience. I think they've got a lot going on in their own lives socially at the time, so it doesn't really come across in a meaningful way at the moment, but I think down the road they'll look back and be like, that was really cool when we got to like meet the person that we sung the song to. In this year's group of students, some students almost wish that it was written about a snake because of all the S's. They felt like they could maybe connect to doing those punchy S's more in that way, but they weren't involved in writing the text either, so right. It's hard to say. I hope that they gain an appreciation for how hard it is to write music, and I think even with Tiffany, she's like, they're talking about writer's block and like how it's like you start small and you just slowly work on it and slowly build it, and then it becomes something great through multiple drafts. And it did take multiple drafts us to come up with something. So, and I hope they enjoyed it. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I hope it's a positive experience for them. And just a fun experience. But I think also, kind of taking the mystery away from these things that you get that are pieces of paper, I think is really important. Like to know that everything is made by someone and it starts just from a regular person, like writing a song. It doesn't matter almost what the song is. It's better if they like it, but whatever it is that shows them that, they can do that too, or something else that seems like a mystery to them.